what would be the thing that makes you think you're underinvested in land? Like something specific that you get from land or that you can do with land? And on the flip side, what would make you feel like, ooh, man, I don't necessarily need 5 land, 10 land. I might just need one. Like, what would be both of those sides of the token?
That's where I feel like it gets a little tricky, right? Because there's a difference in between all the lands, right? There's
Sure.
some bare bones lands where, we may come back and be like, your best bet was just to buy floor land, right? Resources aren't really going to matter that much. Artifacts are just, they're all added bonuses. Where just owning a land in general is good. And then on the other side, you'll have the argument of, okay, well, you need these resources and rare resources are better, rare artifacts are better. And then that's when I would feel underexposed, is if I'm like, okay, I need more rare resources or rare artifacts or whatever.
So one thing that I was kind of thinking about in terms of like how to like appropriately position yourself. There's, let me see if I can zoom in over here so we can kind of, over here, we have the categories section. There's 8 categories: decay, harsh, spirit, volcanic, mineral, growth, psychedelic, and chaos. Psychedelic has acid lands in there. They've got the sludge lands and the marshmallow, and then this one, I forget what it's called. But and to add to this, they're designated with this kind of wavy border.
Right.
Right. So I'm like, maybe it makes sense to like try and, fill this out and get like one of each, or, a good land from maybe 1 or 2. And then I don't know. I mean, that's one of the thoughts I had early on, was like, I'm going to try and get the rarest resource, or the rarest environment land from each of these categories, and try and hold at least one. But then it just kind of became too difficult when you start trying to factor in, okay, I want this land, but I also want it with the resource that is specific to that land. And so then it was just more of like, all right, I'm just going to stop thinking about this.
Was it an expense thing? It just became too expensive overall?
Yeah. I mean, like, so if you're like, okay, I want the top environment from psychedelic, but then you're like, oh, I also want, you're like, okay, but I also want the resource specific to acid. I mean, it's just too expensive. They're like 14 ETH minimum right now for like a tier 1. So it's just like, I don't know.
That's tough. I don't know. Like, I guess I asked the question because I wanted to know how y'all were feeling, because I'm not really sure how to feel. Because there's some days I'm like, man, I feel like I wish I had 20, even no matter what they are, like just 20 to play and build and rent out, whatever it is, right? And then there's other times where I'm like, I don't know, man. Do I need the 8 I'm holding right now? I don't know.
Yeah, I totally feel that sentiment, and I think Will and I are kind of on the same page where we don't really know, right? Like,
Yeah,
it could all be
nobody
great, it could all be bad, but at the end of the day, if you look back at Yuga overall, their whole economy, there's almost never been a bad time to buy Yuga. So I think
know, dude,
regardless, in the future, like, we'll be looking back at this broadcast and be like, why didn't we go just scoop 10 more lands?
If only, right?
Yeah,
just go in the future.
Only like 6 more apes.
They're all, yeah. Don't remind me, dude. Oh my god.